We got some tomatoes to plant. On this lazy Sunday afternoon, I realized I got a couple more tomatoes to plant. Right here, we had the lotus, but these tubers were around the bottom and it froze hard. They didn't make it. So we're not gonna have lotus this year, but I can go ahead and use this area. And I've got 2 tomatoes that need to come out to the garden. So come on, let's plant. If you remember, when we planted out this small container, we had some lettuce in there and we put 5 tomatoes in here. And as they grew, we went ahead and pulled some of those out. We're managing the size of this tomato by keeping it in a small container. Here's another one that we put in a small container, and it's not going to get much bigger than this. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the garden. But look what I did with this other one. You were with me when I was building these small containers. Moved some of this lettuce over, but I also moved that one tomato over into the little bigger container. It also had a baby pepper with it. Now this tomato's taken off and it's overpowering the pepper. So let's go ahead and clean this up and let's go ahead and get it in the garden. Now I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to go ahead and take these lower branches off. If you remember, this entire stem will root, but we got a sucker here and a leaf here. I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Remove this lower branch. Okay, now we've got kind of a manageable sized tomato. Now there's a couple more lower things. I like to put chives in here with our containers. Kind of deters the bugs. So now I need to separate these. This is pretty close to the wall, so I think we're going to be okay. So I'm going to take my trowel. I'm about split between the pepper and the tomato. And I'm just going to go down in here and I can feel some roots. I feel some roots giving. I think I've got this broke loose now. And pop it up. And I didn't even leave that big of a hole. The pepper's definitely going to be better off without this tomato. Let's go get this in the garden. I've already shown you how I plant them on their side. You can also plant them very deep. We're going to do that with this one. I'm going to go ahead. I don't normally use a shovel, but we're going to go ahead and take this hole. We're going to go ahead and make this pretty deep. And you can actually see the original color of the ground. This is orangey clay. You can see what the deep mulch has done to the top several inches. Okay, this hole is good and deep. And if you look, I think it'll be all right with these leaves. I'm probably going to take this one off because it's right at ground level. I am going to go ahead and take this one off because it's at ground level. Then just backfill. Get some up around on that stem. We'll just continue to backfill till we get it where we want it. That's how you plant a tomato, really deep. And then let's go ahead and pull some mulch in around here. And in a couple days, we'll be ready to go ahead and trellis this. Let's go ahead and get this little guy in. I'm just gonna dig down about a hand's deep. There you go. I think that's all our tomatoes for right now. We'll mulch in, and in a few days when it gets some growth, we'll go ahead and prune it up and trellis it up. We just got done planting tomatoes. What are you doing with poles? That's not how we trellis tomatoes. Well, I'm kind of over here in a spot that I didn't intend to have any tomatoes, but when he puts a tomato there, that's where it's going to be. Check out these volunteers. This one just showed up. This one showed up a few days ago. Well, maybe a couple weeks ago. It's got a lot of good growth. But right behind there, we got some more watermelons that came up on their own. Right here was the outline of the old fence, and I know we had one over here last year. So waiting on a vine-ripe tomato, they got 2 ripe and fell. It reseeded. So I got a couple right here. So we're gonna need to do something to help these out. We could put a ring around here, but once they get some size to them, I found that I have to put a T-post or something else substantial. And remember, once these get big, they're full of water and they're very heavy. So let's go ahead and anticipate that, and we'll start with some poles. Hit something. We'll put one over here on this side. And since we only have 2 up here, I think we're going to be okay. That's good for right now. When this other one gets any size, we'll go ahead and trellis it. We're going to start with a slip knot. Get down to about where you think, cut it off. There's always a stick in the deep mulch. We're just going to use that to anchor it. Now we're just estimating, and having that slip knot up on top will allow us to make it shorter or longer if we need to. Come kind of close to the plant, and then go ahead and sink that down in there. That just anchors it. So let's go ahead and clean this up. Got a sucker right there. I'm going to take all this lower stuff off. I'm just going to clean this up. All right, that cleans that tomato up really well. Let's toss that off to the side. We'll start trellising. And if you look right here, you could almost say that that is a sucker, because you do have a leaf right here, and you do have the stem, and it's kind of in that, but it's not right where that leaf hits that stem. So I don't believe that's actually a sucker. That's sort of where it's branching. That's why I believe this is a determinate tomato, and I don't want to take any more off than that. And while I was doing that, look right over here. We got a tumor coming up in the walkway. Been a few days since we looked at our peanuts. They didn't all germinate, but once these start going, we should have a pretty nice little patch here. I'm getting pretty excited for our first Cherokee tomatoes. These are my favorite. And we should have green tomatoes and cabbage at the same time, so we can make some green tomato chow-chow. Yeah, Sunday afternoon. I could be working or eating strawberries. You can do this too. Until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you.